This is a commentated TAS of Naruto Ninja Council for the Game Boy Advance. I want to say straight away that this TAS is not perfectly optimal and could certainly be slightly faster in certain circumstances throughout the run. This TAS does however do many TAS-only tricks and uses routing through some levels which has never been done RTA before. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. This TAS uses Naruto instead of Sasuke or Kakashi. Naruto is the worst and most limited of the three, and my goal when I set out to make this TAS was to make it faster than the current Sasuke world record of 1401. For reference, the current Naruto world record is 1838. This first level is fairly basic, and I simply try to maintain a top speed and jump over the enemies. In this game, Naruto has a single jump, the ability to dash or sprint by double tapping a direction, a grounded triple attack, and an aerial attack. In this first boss fight, we're going to see one of the few instances of using a jutsu, as they are oftentimes much slower than simply attacking. In this case, Sexy Jutsu is a one-shot kill on Ibisu. In this next level, you will see that Naruto's most optimal form of attack is using the first two hits of his 3-hit grounded combo. This is because the third hit causes a knockdown on the enemy, which wastes time while they fall to the ground and need to stand back up. We are coming up to the first skip of the run, which allows us to travel over this wall instead of needing to crawl through the tunnels underground. It is quite a hefty time save, and while it can be difficult, it is not especially challenging to perform RTA. The next boss fight is Ino. I'm unable to perform Naruto's optimal attack pattern mindlessly, so while you will see it, I also throw in a handful of aerial attacks to manipulate Ino's AI for favorable RNG. When we fight Choji in the next level, we'll see a really good example of what Naruto's attack pattern looks like uninterrupted. Coming up to Mountain Trail, we are going to get a glimpse of our first level with a Jutsu scroll. These are scrolls found within levels which give Naruto an elemental attack. This level features a lightning scroll, however we only need to use it once to break this initial wall. You will also notice that we need to stand still and allow Naruto to build up chakra before we can use the jutsu. Now let's pay our respects to Choji as he has the most brutal beatdown of his life. Poor guy. All he has to say after being beaten to near death is that he's hungry. I also have not mentioned this yet, but we make sure to not save after each level as it's faster than saving. This next level also features a lightning scroll, and we also need to use it only once. The other two walls can be skipped by jumping over them. This upcoming fight against Schmoovin is one of the hardest fights in the actual speedrun of the game. Schmoovin is one of the most jutsu heavy bosses throughout the run, and manipulating his AI to not throw out a single jutsu took quite a bit of time. We are now headed to the grassy plain. This level is fairly basic and there's nothing too crazy. The only thing to note about this level in particular is that it features an earth scroll, which allows us to make holes in the ground. The boss here is Rock Lee. Normally when you fight Rock Lee, he will automatically stop the fight halfway through and call Might Guy to his aid. He'll heal back up to full health, and at that point he will just spam jutsus throughout the rest of the fight. We can perform a very big exploit, however, by getting him to just above half health and then finishing him off solely by using the final attack of our 3-hit combo. For some reason, he does not call for Might Guy's help after being knocked down, so we're able to safely kill him without worrying about him stalling the fight. In this next level, we will see our first TAS-only skip. It is a massive skip which allows us to not get the earth scroll in this level by jumping over this huge tree instead. In order to jump over the tree, we need to lure this enemy to the corner, wait for them to jump, and then do an unbelievably precise maneuver to aerial attack up and over the tree. The boss of this level is Haku. She's not too challenging, and we are able to beat her up similar to how we did with poor old Choji. We are now coming up on the Leaf Village Forest. These next two levels feature fire scrolls, which allow us to burn down trees which are in our way. Once again, this stalling is because I need to wait for my chakra to build up before I can use the fire scroll. We are about to perform another very difficult jump over a tree. However, this one is much more plausible to perform in an RTA setting compared to the previous one. For reference, the inputs for the previous jump took me around 2 hours before it finally allowed me to get over the tree, whereas this jump probably took me around 10 minutes. In this boss fight versus Kiba, I make sure to take out Akamaru right away so that I can unload on Kiba without worrying about him using any jutsus. It's not too difficult of a boss fight. This next level will feature an extremely TAS only trick. While we do some waiting for our chakra to build up, I will explain how it works. I will force the AI, which travels in set distances, to run away from me. After she stops, I will hit her with the first 2 attacks of my 3-hit combo, to push her ever so slightly back. If I were to hit her with another attack, it would kill her. Before she can move, I dash away and get a running start before jumping over her with an attack and launching over the wall. It was at this point in the task that I actually discovered a little exploit, which was used just there and will now be used throughout the run. The exploit is that if you throw a kunai on the last frame before running off a ledge, you will maintain much more of your momentum than you would have if you simply ran off. Here we are fighting Rock Lee once more. It's basically the exact same fight, except he is a bit more aggressive. The important thing once again is that he does not summon Might Guy and heal halfway through the fight. We are now inside the Leaf Village, which is apparently burning to the ground. As such, we need to make sure we grab the water scroll in order to progress past this initial section. Keep an eye out for the kunai exploit I just mentioned previously, as you will see it again in this level. The routing used for this level has also never been performed RTA as Naruto, as some of the jumps over these walls are incredibly difficult and precise. The first Leaf Village boss is Shino. The key here is to make sure we dodge his insects, while also steadily dealing damage to him. This upcoming level also uses a route which has never been done before RTA, and is definitely TAS only. There are 2 unimaginably difficult jumps here which require insane precision and timing to pull off. In my testing, being 1 frame earlier late for any of the inputs would cause the trick to fail. The second boss of the Leaf Village is Neji. We want Neji to use a jutsu as fast as possible because there's a bug that occurs afterwards. The bug is that his AI breaks if you attack him straight away and never break the combo. This strategy is also RTA viable, and believe it or not, it also works with Rock Lee. With Lee, however, it's not very optimal since he also heals back up to full health. Fighting Neji without this strategy is not suggested though, since he is incredibly fast and will not let you land more than 1 consecutive hit at a time. We are now at the second to last stage of the game, Ninja Academy. Why the Academy for little children is at the end of the game? I'm not too sure. Fortunately, these levels feature the wind scroll, which allows us to jump super high, and as such, we have very flashy movement in general, and are able to perform sequence breaks easily. We will now be fighting Tamari. In a real speedrun, she is extremely challenging, but we are able to manipulate her for quite favorable RNG. This second level also contains some very nice movement. You will notice that I am chaining these tornadoes together without touching the ground. This is very difficult, and normally one would throw out the tornado, land, and then jump into it to perform these skips. I also have not mentioned this yet, but if you've noticed the fact that I am dodging these yellow boxes right before every boss fight, it is because they prompt a text box cutscene. Konkoro is another tricky fight RTA, but since this is a TAS, we're able to defeat him with ease. We have arrived at the final two platforming levels of this game. The first of the two is nothing special compared to the previous levels. It is still quite flashy, however, since these levels also feature wind scrolls. Here we are fighting Haku once more. Similarly to Rock Lee, this second version of Haku is simply a more aggressive version of the first one. We are able to defeat her with no issues. This second level features an insanely cool boost off of an enemy while I'm doing an aerial attack. This propels me up to the second level of platforms, which is faster in the long run. The alternative way to get up here would have been to use my scroll, which would take time to charge up. We also do an aerial boost off this large enemy to get up to the top layer and jump to the boss, Zabuza. Zabuza is another one of those bosses that, while very difficult in an actual speedrun, is not too difficult in a TAS. The important thing is just to make sure we do as much continuous damage as possible, and he is promptly defeated. After defeating Zabuza, we need to fight the worst boss in the game, Orochimaru. He uses his jutsus basically every single time you hit him, and I spent so much time trying to manipulate away his use of jutsus. However, he is like a brick wall, and at a certain point, no matter what you do, he will use a jutsu. I try to defeat him as quickly as possible, but as you can see, he's quite the menace to society. After quite a lengthy battle, he is finally defeated and we have completed the game. If only the third Hokage had taken away the use of his arms before the creation of this TAS. If you made it this far into the video, I figured it might be fun to replay some of the more interesting skips and tricks in this run.